Store manager accused a black boy of stealing, while 25 bikers waited in line. So this happened. The store went quiet right after the beep. It wasn't the friendly kind that says, "Thank you for shopping." It was the sharp, sticky tone that clamps the air and makes everyone stare. The automatic doors froze, red strip lighting up like a brake. At the front of the line, a manager in a navy vest raised a hand and pointed. "You. Backpack. Now." The boy he meant, 14, slim, eyes too old, stopped with a small bag of batteries and a candy bar on the counter. Beside him, a girl about 11 hugged a cracked piggy bank to her chest, thumb holding the tape across its belly. They both wore the same kind of careful. "Sir," the boy said, steady but quiet, "I paid at self-check." The manager's smile didn't reach anything. "Funny." The alarm disagrees. Behind them, 25 bikers, leather creases, road dust, charity ride wristbands, stood in a lazy snake toward the register. Helmets under arms, patches muted in fluorescent light. One by one their phones rose, glass catching the ceiling glow. No one moved closer. They just aligned, the way a windbreak aligns, natural, inevitable. Jax, our road captain, tapped his screen. A red dot came alive. He didn't raise his voice. "We're witnessing," he told the room. "That's all." The manager stepped around the counter and spread his stance in front of the boy. "What's in the bag?" The boy swallowed. "School stuff. A hoodie." "Open it." The girl's fingers tightened on the piggy bank. The tape crinkled. "Sir," the boy tried again. "The batteries are for her." "She." "Save the story," the manager said, already reaching. "I've seen this before." The scanner on his belt chirped. He loved that sound. People drifted between aisles like deer who smell a storm. A woman in scrubs paused near the pharmacy sign, watching. A cashier froze with a roll of quarters in her palm. Somewhere in back, a pallet jack squealed and stopped. The boy slid the receipt across the counter with 2 fingers. His hand shook just enough to make the paper flutter. The cashier took it, glanced, hesitated. "It shows 2 items," she said. "Batteries and candy." "Then why the beep?" the manager snapped. The cashier looked at the battery blister pack. A small square of gray under the cardboard winked. "Sometimes the tag doesn't deactivate at self-check," she said. "If the coil's off." The manager cut her off with a palm. "Corporate trained me to trust systems, not stories." He pointed again at the backpack. "Open it." Jax's voice didn't change. "Ask, don't grab." "I'm asking," the manager said, but the word had hands. He reached anyway. The boy flinched back half an inch, pride catching his heel. The girl shifted with him, piggy bank slipping. It hit the edge of the conveyor with a dull, breathless thud. A hairline crack zigzagged across the plastic belly, and a single coin rang on the tile and rolled until it kissed the toe of Jax's boot. The store held its breath. Jax bent, picked up the coin, and set it gently beside the receipt. "Name?" he asked the boy. "Malik," he said. "Her name's Layla." The manager planted his hands on the counter. "Malik, you will show me the contents of your bag, or I will detain you until police arrive." Layla's voice was small and iron. "He didn't steal. We came for batteries." She touched her ear. "Mine." A beige plastic curve tucked behind her hair flashed in the light. Hearing aid, old and obedient. A murmur rippled through the line. Phones tilted. A biker with gray at his temples murmured, "Tags miss all the time." The woman in scrubs nodded. "Happened yesterday. I paid." It still beeped. The manager's jaw tightened. "Everyone has a chorus, I see." The cashier tried again, braver. "I can reskin the pack, sir." "Deactivate it." The manager ignored her and clicked his radio. "Asset protection to front." Jax lifted his free hand, palm open. "No one's stopping you from doing your job," he said. "But your job isn't humiliation." The manager's eyes flicked to the row of black screens recording him. He squared his vest like armor. "You will not intimidate me." "Not trying," Jax said. "We're wind." Malik drew a breath that tried to be deep and landed somewhere shy. He unzipped his backpack slowly and folded it open so the world could see. A notebook with a corner chewed, a clean hoodie, a library copy of The Outsiders stamped with a due date, a folded permission slip. "No candy. No batteries." "Receipt," Jax said softly. Malik slid it closer. The cashier scanned the barcode. The register chirped approval. She tried the deactivator. It spat a red blink, hissed, then finally popped green with a reluctant beep. "See," she whispered. The alarm at the door stayed lit. Once it screams, it likes to keep screaming. The manager thrust a palm toward the boy's pockets anyway. "Empty them." Layla stepped between, a small shield with taped plastic under her chin. He said yes once, she said. You don't keep asking the same question hoping it makes him smaller. The coin by Jax's boot seemed to echo her. He said it in the piggy bank's crack like a stitch. From the far end of the aisle, a man with a tablet and a tie, regional, by the look, appeared at a brisk walk, eyes clicking from alarm light to manager stance to the quietly assembled wall of leather and lenses. Report, he said. The manager started to talk. For once, the store chose someone else. The alarm knew nothing about Layla's lists. It didn't know about the bulletin board in their foster home, where a cheap cork tile held 3 columns in thick marker. Need, doing, done. It didn't know how Layla moved names between them like a conductor, or how she'd drawn a little shoe next to her own because the sole of her left sneaker had opened its mouth like a tired fish. It didn't know about the 2 years before the bulletin board, when everything sounded underwater. When their mother's laugh stopped showing up in rooms. When the caseworker explained the word temporary to a brother and sister who wanted the opposite of that word. It didn't know about the first night in a new bed, Malik promising, "I've got you," even though he was 14 and had nothing but a library card and a habit of finishing other people's sentences to help them over the hard words. The alarm didn't know that Layla's hearing aid was older than the phone in the manager's hand, that it hiccuped when the battery sagged, reducing the world to cotton. Teacher's voice, bus brakes, Malik's whisper. It didn't know that the only way Layla could sleep sometimes was flicking the switch off, making the world gentle by dimming it. It didn't know that the piggy bank had a crack because months ago, a security guard joked about inspecting it and dropped it, and Layla had smiled and said, "It's okay," and gone home to tape the belly and draw a bandage sticker over the seam because that's what kids do when the world is clumsy with them. Malik knew. He watched lists like weather. He took every odd job with a broom attached to it. Sweeping back rooms, wiping down carts, hauling compost for the community garden. Today he'd counted the change twice, then 3 times, and walked his sister into the store for 2 things. A blister pack that would bring voices back into focus and a chocolate that would keep panic from shivering her hands while the door beeped at strangers. He coached her like a teammate before they reached the self-check. "Stand by me. Watch the screen. We'll put the receipt in the pocket. If anyone asks, we show it once, not forever." Layla nodded and clutched the piggy bank like a small country. The alarm didn't know that the cashier who'd smiled at them last week had taped a quarter to the need column under bus pass with a note, "For luck," or that the woman in scrubs now watching from the pharmacy aisle had patched Layla's knee at the county clinic and remembered her by the way she'd thanked the cotton ball. The manager didn't know any of it, either. He knew shrinkage reports and morning emails with bullet points about loss prevention. He knew the little thrill of a system pointing a finger and the way authority felt when it fit like a glove. He knew what he thought he knew. Boys with backpacks and girls with taped things meant trouble in columns he'd never list in public. What the alarm also didn't know, why 25 bikers were in line at 10 a.m. They were there because once a month, after a charity ride, they bought socks and toothpaste and a stack of gift cards and took them to the shelter like people who understood that dignity is really just groceries that arrive on time. They were there because a mechanic in the group had fixed a foster dad's radiator for parts only, because a teacher's wife had a donor's list that needed names, because a town stays a town only if people who don't match still rhyme. Jax had clocked Malik and Layla the minute they drifted in. How the boy kept his shoulders square without getting tall, how the girl watched mouths to help the words. He'd seen versions of this film before. He refused to let it keep the same ending. Back at the register, the regional supervisor, name badge Hines, took in the receipt, the scanner, the manager's stance, the red light that loved drama. He looked past them, to the girl with the taped bank and the boy who had laid his life out on a conveyor for inspection and still kept his voice like a handshake. "Let me see your hearing aid, honey," the nurse called gently from the aisle. Layla tucked hair behind her ear without shame. "Batteries were dying," she said. "The world gets fuzzy." Hines exhaled, patient and not pleased. "Deactivate the tag," he told the cashier, "and turn off the alarm." To Malik, "You did nothing wrong." The manager bristled. Protocol says we check things, not people," Hines said. "Protocol also says we apologize when systems fail, and we stop the failure, not the customer." Phones caught all of it, the good and the almost good and the parts that still needed sanding. The alarm finally sighed and let the door remember it was a door. Layla loosened her grip on the piggy bank. Malik's shoulders dropped a centimeter. None of that rewound the beep or erased the way a room can turn on a kid and ask him to prove he belongs. But it did something else. It wrote the next beat. And the next beat belonged to the people who had decided not to blink when a boy and his sister were asked to be smaller than a system's glitch. Hines planted both hands on the counter, the way you hold a board steady before you cut. Deactivate the tag, he repeated. The cashier slid the battery pack across the deactivator. This time the coil flashed green with a meek little pop. The store alarm finally surrendered, the red bar over the door dimming to nothing. That doesn't prove intent, the manager muttered. Too loud to be private, too soft to be brave. I've seen this before. You've seen the wrong part, the nurse said. She stepped closer, badge catching light. I'm Elena Santos, County Clinic. That girl is my patient. She needed batteries. Phones pivoted to include her. The cashier cleared her throat. Sir, I want it on record, the receipt scanned. The deactivator misfired at self-check. It's the third time this week. From the aisle, a teen lifted his phone. I filmed the self-check. You can see the green check mark. He swiped. The screen showed Malik's finger tapping pay, the register printing a slim ribbon of truth. Hines nodded once. Email that to me. He glanced at the line of bikers. Who else recorded front of store? A dozen hands went up. Jax pointed to the ceiling. Your dome cam saw it too. Already pulling it, Hines said. He spoke into his mic. AP, send me the last 10 minutes. Register 4, entry alarm. A stocky man in a black polo hustled up from receiving. On it. The manager reached for the backpack again, reflex unlearning slowly. Jax slid one boot forward the length of a coin. Not blocking. Just reminding. Layla adjusted the piggy bank under her arm. The tape along its belly gave up with a tired sigh. Coins burbled out and skittered across the tile like startled minnows. A folded scrap of paper fluttered after them and landed face up at the toe of the manager's shoe. In thick pencil, Layla, shoes 36, blue if possible. Something in the room recalibrated. The manager bent, maybe to scoop evidence, maybe to save face, and froze with that scrawl between his fingers. He didn't read it aloud. He didn't need to. Everyone already had. Back up, Hines told him, gentler than before. He crouched, gathered the note, and placed it on the conveyor next to Malik's receipt like two halves of the same sentence. He looked at the cashier. Get a small bag for her change. Elena knelt with Layla and made a bowl of her hands. Let's catch these fish, she said. Coins pinged into palms, into a takeout soup cup, into a biker's cupped leather glove. A city community officer stepped through the now unlocked door. Navy uniform, body cam on, posture set to listen before speak. Officer Alvarez, she said. Got a call about a disturbance. Not a disturbance, Hines replied. A failure. We're fixing it. Alvarez's gaze did one slow lap. The receipt, the tape, the backpack open to syllabus and hoodie, the line of silent engines wearing people. Who was accused? She asked. Me, Malik said. He didn't step behind anyone to say it. You feel safe? Alvarez asked. He glanced at Layla, at Jax, at Elena. I do now. Good, Alvarez said. I'll still take statements and the video for a bias review file. Stores that detain minors have to document cause. We'll attach the register footage. The manager bristled. Detain? You blocked the exit, Alvarez said, not unkind. That's detention. Words matter. Asset protection returned with a tablet. On screen, Malik scanning, the green check, the receipt spit. Then the door, beep, flinch, manager step, backpack point. Hines didn't look away. He let the silence make the case. Mr. Park, he said, finally using the manager's name like a verdict. You misapplied protocol and escalated on a minor after a system error. This is not your first complaint. A murmur rolled the length of the checkout. The cashier's lower lip trembled. She steadied it with a breath. He stopped a kid last month, she said, quiet but clear. Made him empty his pockets for gum. Park swallowed. Shrink is up. Corporate wrote a policy that says check the thing, not the person, Hines said. Here's what happens next. He ticked items off with the calm of a man building a necessary bridge. 1. We apologize to both of you, without qualifications. 2. We refund your purchase and add a gift card for the inconvenience. 3. We comp the hearing aid batteries you'll need for the next 6 months. 4. We review front-end training on deactivation and approach. 5. We post the policy at the door. The bikers didn't cheer. They didn't need to. They were ballast. The room could now stand up without leaning. Alvarez added her own list. And 6, she said. I open a bias review incident. That's not punitive by itself, but it's light. Light helps. Park opened his mouth. Closed it. His eyes flew to Hines. Am I? You're off the floor, Hines said. Effective now. We'll talk in back. Park stared at the coin-stippled tile, as if it might suggest a better line, then walked toward the swinging door slower than pride likes to walk. Elena poured Layla's coins into a small zip bag and tucked the blue pencil note on top like a receipt of a different kind. We'll find the right shoes, she said. Blue if possible. Jack slid a 50 across the counter face down and tapped it twice. For the list, he said. The biker behind him matched it. So did the next. No speeches. Only the soft percussion of paper making promises. Hines looked at Malik. You two shopping for anything else? Notebook, Malik said before he could talk himself out of it. He glanced at Layla. And maybe a blue if possible. Layla smiled the smallest smile. Blue if possible. Alvarez clipped her pen to her pocket. I'll need statements from anyone who filmed. We'll be quick. She faced Malik. You don't owe me grace, but if you have any left, lend me a minute to write this right. He nodded. At the end of the counter, the cashier slid a pair of school notebooks onto the belt. On me, she whispered. For the first day that doesn't beep. Hines tapped his mic front end. Print the policy. Big font. Top line. Check the item, not the person. Respect is non-negotiable. The printer whirred. And outside, through the sliding glass that finally remembered to open, a small crowd had gathered, curious, then approving, then ready. The line of bikes shifted, engines still, as if waiting for a green light that meant more than go. What nobody knew yet, not Malik, not Layla, not even Hines, was that the fix wouldn't end at refunds and a sign. Something else was about to walk through those doors that would turn a correction into a change. The sliding doors parted again, and a woman in a blazer with flats you could stand in all day stepped through, scanning for truth, not postures. Name badge gold, not plastic. Store owner, Maria Whitaker. She didn't start with questions. She started with eyes. Layla's taped bank, Malik's open backpack, Hines's stance, Alvarez's body cam. The sign the printer was coughing out in big, unapologetic font. Play it, she said. Asset protection tilted the tablet. Maria watched the register clip, the green check, the door beep, the point, the flinch. She watched as if it were not a courtroom exhibit, but a neighbor's story. When it ended, she set the tablet down and faced Malik and Layla. I'm sorry, she said, plain as bread. That happened in my store. It won't happen again. Hines nodded toward the swinging door. Park's off the floor. Maria didn't look away from the kids. He suspended pending review. Our review won't hide in a back room. She turned to the cashier. Print the policy again. Bigger. We'll post it at the door, at self-check, and behind the counter. The printer grumbled louder, obedient. Jack shifted just enough to be noticed. Words help, he said. But rooms remember better when something heavy gets moved. Maria's mouth twitched. Then let's move heavy. She tapped her headset. Front, bring the community cart. A stalker rolled up a flatbed with a sign that had seen other drives, back to school. Maria flipped the sign to blank cardboard and wrote in fat marker, Layla list. She looked at the cashier. Pull 2 pairs of youth blue sneakers, 36 and the next size up. Add notebooks, weighted pencils, a decent backpack. To Hines, comp them. No PR, receipts on the audit. Hines spoke into his mic, approved. Maria turned to Malik. You looking for work after school? He blinked. We run a paid youth program, stock, customer care, real training, not grunt work. Benefits include a manager who knows the difference between check the item and empty your pockets. Interested? Malik's yes got stuck behind his teeth. Layla's smile pushed it out. Yes, he said. Good, Maria said. Orientation Saturday. Bring your homework. We have a table for that. The nurse, Elena, lifted a hand. I'll cover 6 months of hearing aid batteries through the clinic fund, she said. Bill me if inventory dips. Copy that, Hines said, already typing. Maria faced the line of bikers. You all do a shelter run, right? First Saturday, Jack said. Then add this, Maria said, uncapping the marker again. She wrote LAYLAFUND on the cart sign and underlined it once, hard enough to squeak. Microgrants for school stuff. Store matches on the first 100 each month. Posted balance by the service desk, audited. If presence is protection, then transparency is trust. Phones hummed, not to drag, to document. From the swinging door, Park reappeared, not with a defense but with a broom and a face that had learned the room it was in. Alvarez's glance said careful, Maria's palm said halt. Park stopped, hands visible. "I," he started, voice frayed, "grew up being told to catch shrimp before it caught me. But I caught the wrong thing." He looked at Malik, at Layla. "I'm sorry. No qualifiers." He held out the broom. "If there's sweeping." Leia eyed the cracked piggy bank and the coin dust still sheltering in tile grout. "There is," she said. Park swept. He didn't speak again. The room did. The cashier taped the new policy at eye level. "Check the item, not the person. Respect is non-negotiable." Hines stapled a copy to a clipboard labeled front-end training, today. Alvarez took 2 short statements, promised the bias review file would live in light, not a drawer. Maria wheeled the Layla list cart to the service desk. "QR code goes here," she said. "Monthly post of deposits and purchases. Names optional, needs precise." She raised her voice a notch. "This is not charity. This is repair." Jax laid a stack of small gift cards on the counter like a deck for a card trick. "Load these for the fund. 20 each." His row matched him, one by one. A little weight, a little promise, a little proof. The sliding doors sighed and reopened. A foster coordinator from the shelter stepped in, freckles bright with hurry. She hugged Layla without crushing the taped bank. "Bus leaves at 2, she whispered. "You'll have blue by dinner." Layla looked down at the zip bag of coins, at the pencil note on top. "Blue if possible," she said, almost to the piggy. Then to Maria, "Thank you for saying it won't happen again." Maria nodded once. "And for writing how?" "On a wall. Where anyone can read." Hines held up a small laminated badge. "Temporary team pass," he said to Malik. "So you can walk out past any alarm, and all it will do is tell you to have a good day." The pass was just plastic, but when Malik clipped it to his pocket, the room tilted a degree toward decent. At the end of the conveyor, the cashier slid a candy bar across, face down. "For the bus," she said to Layla. "Sugar before soccer tryouts is science." Layla laughed, a clean, bright sound that made even the tired fluorescent lights look like they'd chosen the right job. Outside, the bikes didn't rumble. They waited, engines quiet, a low guardrail the town had decided to keep. A fix had been made. But as Maria signed the last line on the clipboard and taped the policy above the scanner that loved to miss, it felt like something else had arrived. A hinge the door could swing on again and again. "Take the front exit," she told the kids. "Let the new sign see you first." They walked to the front together, Malik with a temporary team badge glinting like a small sunrise, Layla cradling a brand new blue shoebox under her taped piggy bank, Hines and Maria a step behind, Alvarez finishing her notes, and 25 bikers forming a quiet aisle. The sliding doors opened without a beep, as if the store had relearned its manners. Above them, the fresh sign held still and sure. "Check the item, not the person. Respect is non-negotiable." Outside, Chrome caught daylight. Nobody revved. Presents didn't need volume. Jax nodded once, and we fell into motion. Not a parade, just a practiced escort across a parking lot that too often asked kids to prove they belonged. The Layla Fund QR hung by the service desk window, already blinking with small donations like pulse beats. At the curb, the shelter van idled, side door open, sun warming the vinyl seats. The foster coordinator checked sizes, blue, 36, and tucked a receipt into the shoebox lid because dignity likes paperwork too. Elena slid a 6-month card of hearing aid batteries into Layla's palm and closed her fingers around it the way nurses close sutures. Park stood back near the carts with the broom at rest. He didn't wave. He didn't ask for credit. He just nodded at Malik, a thank you written in lowercase, and looked up at the sign as if learning it by heart. Maria handed Malik a small folder, schedule, orientation form, an employee discount clipped to the corner. "Homework comes first," she said. "Tell the front if anyone forgets the policy." Malik swallowed and said yes like he'd been saving the word. The shelter van pulled away slow. Layla pressed her palm to the window glass, bracelet catching light, new shoes in her lap like a promise she could lace. We watched until the van turned the corner and the blue box became one more ordinary miracle on its way to a first day. Inside, Hines taped a second notice beside the policy. Bias review hotline. Incidents are investigated, not ignored. The cashier set out a clear jar labeled Layla list, audited monthly, a copy of the ledger beneath it. Coins rang soft as rain. The store's PA sputtered to life and, for once, didn't sell anything. "Thank you for your patience and for treating neighbors like neighbors." Jax looked into the nearest phone for the record, not the views. "If your door only knows one word, teach it another," he said. Start with respect. Post it big. Back it up. Presence is protection, but policy is proof. We mounted up for the shelter drop, gift cards, notebooks, a bundle of socks zip-tied with a bow. Engines murmured to life, more heartbeat than thunder. As we rolled, Maria stepped outside and, with a strip of blue painter's tape, added one more line under the sign. We mean it. Some stories end with refunds and an apology. The better ones keep going when a room agrees on a rule and writes it where everyone can see, and then lives it when no one's filming. If you'd been there, when a beep tried to pick a side, what would you have done? Tell us below. And if your corner needs a new word on the door, print it tonight, post it big, and back it with action. We'll stand the line with you.